I'm doing this video on request. Karen Peterson 2743 wrote a comment on one of the previous videos saying, Robin, would you be able to do a vid that compares stats between Caitlin's first 12 games versus Diana T's first 12 games? And I thought that was an interesting concept. Of course, their rookie season first 12 games, considering the links between the two when you go back to what Taurasi has said about Caitlin Clark in the past, and of course, Taurasi being on this Olympic team and Caitlin Clark not. Then you had another commenter, Roy AC Fall, 1570, actually tabulated these stats. Now, the Taurasi ones are slightly off, and I don't think it's this person's fault. They probably got it from ESPN, and their game log doesn't include Taurasi's debut against the Monarchs, so the points are slightly higher, but like right at 18. But nonetheless, you see Taurasi had slightly more points than Caitlin Clark, fewer rebounds, fewer assists, and Clark actually more blocks, more steals as well. And Taurasi took a few more field goals, so Clark's points total could be higher theoretically. She's also the fastest ever to 200 plus points and 75 plus assists in the first 12 games of a career. And I can just show you their game logs for a little bit more perspective if you want to see that, the splits, I guess you would say, from their respective rookie seasons. And then we'll look at this season as well. But here are the splits for Taurasi from her rookie season. As you can see here, we go to May and June. And she started off really hot in May, but then came down a little bit in June. 11 games in June at 16.3 points, 3.7, 3.5. So basically the same thing we're seeing there. Her numbers didn't change much over the course of that rookie season. She wound up averaging, where are we at here? 17 points, 4.5 boards, and 3.9 assists. So Clark is right there. Clark is right there. In fact, higher in some of those numbers. And we go to Caitlin's splits for this year so far. I mean, you don't really have to look at Caitlin's splits because she's only played this season. We can just look at Caitlin's overall numbers in comparison thus far this season. And you got that right there, right? 16.8 right there on points, more rebounds, more assists. We'll see if her shooting percentages trend up a little bit. And then we can go to Diana this year, right? And she's at 6. She's still scoring 16 points a game and shooting 36% from three. But in every other number, Caitlin has higher numbers so far this year, including total points or points per game, as well. But I was just pointing out that Diana can still play. So let's not act like she can't still play. That's part of the conversation. You could make the argument she could have ceded her spot on the Olympic team. And it's worth noting that Diana Taurasi in 2004 played on Team USA following that or during that rookie campaign, right, in the WNBA. So for the talk of as a rookie, you can't be on the team and everything like that, well, not so fast. It's happened before. You didn't always have to necessarily earn your stripes through a career. I mean, and Diana Taurasi is a legend of the game. We're not talking about that's what I've said to Caitlin Clark fans sometimes to not talk disrespectful out their mouths about Diana Taurasi because you are speaking about a legend. When you talk about the 25th anniversary of the WNBA, Taurasi was voted by the fans as the greatest player of all time. Voted by the fans. She's the WNBA's all-time leading scorer. That's a testament to her career. And you can sort of see, I guess, where some of the, resentment could come from when you've done what she's done over the course of her career, and then all of a sudden Caitlin Clark comes around and it's nonstop. Look at her, look at her, look at her go, look at her go, look at her go. And you might feel a certain type of way. And it provides for a complex dynamic in this structure of the USA women's basketball team because Diana is still a part of it. Is there any part of her that's thinking about where Caitlin Clark could wind up, both on the statistical pace? I mean, she's got to play a long time to catch up to Taurasi. And in a legacy sense, as far as the impact on the game and, wait your turn kind of deal, or this is still my team kind of deal, I have no idea. I have no idea how much that played into it, but I did want to address the comment because it was worth putting those numbers head to head, especially when you consider there's been this talk about Caitlin Clark not being ready yet, or not being there yet, or struggling. Well, if she's struggling at the pace of a GOAT, or in some cases ahead of the pace of the player that fans called the GOAT. Now, in year 20, 41 years old, just last week, Diana Taurasi scored 31 points, 7 of 9 from 3. So she's going for her 6th gold medal. You could say she could, step down, and she could even have that would be talk about the respect she would get from maybe a new fan base if she were to say, hey, look, I'm giving up my spot to Caitlin Clark, the next face of the game. But you got to remember, Diana Taurasi's a competitor too. I mean, she wants to beat you. She said it before, she wants to kill the person across from her. So I can get why it hasn't all been roses and bouquets thrown Caitlin Clark's way from DT. I can understand that. But, she's got 5 gold medals already. This season, Clark does lead Taurasi in points, rebounds, and assists as a rookie. But for Diana to still be doing what she's doing at this point in time is remarkable. So I do want to make sure people give Diana Taurasi her proper respect. She's earned it. She was my favorite player back in the day. At the same time, it was a helpful exercise to show, Caitlin Clark is where she was when she started, and she didn't get this resistance at that point early on in her career. And there's the head-to-head right now, as you can see. Diana's got the lead in 3-point percentage. Right now, Caitlin the lead in every other category. But you won't, I'm not going to campaign for Diana Taurasi not to be on the team. She has earned it over the course of her career. But, and I don't want to keep rehashing the conversation. I wanted to respond to the comment. But you can see, as rookies, some of the things people are saying don't exactly apply to the precedent of the greats who have come before.